Welcome to our Milk Market Tidbit for the September Milk Production Report that USDA released this afternoon. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones with Farm Institute, and I'm recording this on Monday afternoon, October the 21st. All right, so the Milk Production Report, as usual, is our first major report of the month, and then it's followed up with the Cold Storage Report and then the Dairy Products Report to get an idea of what actually went on for milk production for the month. So the milk production report always contains three things, of which, two of them and then the third one you estimate. So cows times milk per cow always gives us milk production, or you can rewrite that to do any sort of mathematics you want on it. So when I go into a month, I usually come up with my production estimate month over month, and that's based partly on what USDA says, what they normally have. And we went into this knowing about 5% down month over month. And I also used the federal milk marketing data. So where did we end up coming in? Right at 99.5% of August once it was revised. Now, there are some revisions in here, but I'm going to argue that these are pretty minor revisions. I mean, milk went up a little bit. They raised cow numbers by 3,000. Milk came up about 89 million pounds, which on 18 billion is not a very big number. So if we just kind of look at some of this data, cows are at 9.328, as they said, that came up last month, and then they kept it the same after that, and we're actually down 38,000 cows from a year ago. So if you kind of project this back, it's more than we had in 2015, 2016, and just a little bit more than the low in 2019. However, I still think our replacements are less than 0.75 per cow, and so that means that the herd is not going to expand anytime soon. And here is our slaughter data. The last data we have is for the 29th of September. It was down about 2,500 animals from a year ago. And if we look at the overall cull rate, we've been less than 32%. Now you've got to put, duds on top of that, about 6 or 7%. So we're not culling very many animals. So that means that the herd is going to get a little bit older, a little bit frailer, and again, not going to grow anytime soon without that replacement. Daily production, which is the total milk production, was pretty well flat. Now, this is where one of the problems come in, because this was seen as being up year over year, but last year was actually an outlier to the downside. And so when I look at this, I actually see just a little bit of a downward trend. And so we were increasing pretty heavily through 2022, and then we've been pretty stagnant or down just a little bit. But comparing it to year over year is probably a bit of an issue, because last year was an outlier to the downside. When we went into this, we were having a tough time looking at the federal milk marketing data, because a lot of class 3 depooling. In fact, we ended up with only about 59% of the milk depooled. Last month it was close to 68 or 69, and that's because of the class 3 depooling. So the milk production in the federal order went way down, whereas USDA was, basically right where we expected it to be. If we look at pooling, we should not have any depooling for November and December. Now, October, we're still going to have pretty heavy class 3 depooling. Then once we turn the calendar to the new year, we should have class 4 depooling, because it's going up significantly compared to class 3. Now, this graph was made on Friday, so these are the closes as of Friday. Milk per cow is right where we expected it to be. This is increasing just a little bit and was right on trend line. When I look at these reports, I always look to see what the trade thought of them. And so this is a table that I have, for the next 6 months, October through April. Overnight, we were basically flat, up or down, just a couple cents. In the morning, about the same thing. We ended up just down 3 cents over that time period. The spot market wasn't enough to hold that bullish thought, so we came down just a little bit. Then when this milk production report hit, whoa, we dropped another 16 cents. And so that was a fairly precipitous drop, once that report came out and everybody looked at it. Now, my opinion is this is an overreaction. As I said, that milk production report came out today. We're going to have the advanced prices on Wednesday, and then the cold storage report on Friday, which will be the next milk market tidbit.